Tonight, an annual Mardi Gras tradition in mid-Missouri looks similar to pre-pandemic days, with COVID safety measures recommended, but not required.
Plus, we are looking ahead to warmer days, and it doesn't stop there. We'll have a complete forecast.
Plus, developing news tonight, a teen is in custody after a carjacking led to a crash in North Columbia. This is KOMU 8 News at 10.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
The Lake of the Ozarks is hosting its annual Mardi Gras celebration this weekend. Despite the pandemic, things don't look that different from previous years. Good evening. I'm Noah Klein. Thanks for joining us tonight. KOMU 8's Caitlin Spector is in the newsroom. She was down at the lake earlier this evening. Caitlin, what exactly is different about this year?
In the newsroom, Caitlin Spector, KOMU 8 News.
All right, Caitlin, thanks very much. Also at the Lake of the Ozarks, Lake Regional Health System gave out 720 COVID-19 vaccines today. Now, it comes after 2 second-dose clinics scheduled for this week on Monday and Wednesday were postponed because of the weather. Anyone who originally signed up for either of these days had their appointments postponed to today. Governor Mike Parson postponed Audrain County's mass vaccination clinic in Mexico today. The governor says the shipments of COVID-19 vaccines are delayed due to the weather. Government officials also say the cold weather during the week affected those working the events. We spoke with community members who say they were disappointed but understand. One vaccine recipient almost drove all the way from St. Louis to get her second vaccine.
I figured they would cancel it, but I just called to make sure. And because it would have been a 2-hour drive for nothing, so yeah, I think maybe next week we should be getting it. That's what I'm hoping for.
Audrain County health officials have not announced a makeup date for the second vaccination clinic. Turning to vaccines on the national front, Pfizer is now saying its vaccines can be stored at normal freezer temperatures. Right now, the vaccine is shipped in dry ice and has to be stored below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The FDA says vaccines can last at those temperatures up to 6 months. But now Pfizer says vaccines can be stored in temperatures as warm as 5 degrees Fahrenheit for up to 2 weeks. Pfizer and BioNTech are asking the FDA to update its emergency use authorization with these new temps. And the new information comes the same day President Joe Biden toured a Pfizer facility. He and Michigan's governor toured Pfizer's biggest manufacturing site. It's near Kalamazoo. Staff showed them doses of the vaccine and the freezers where they are stored. During remarks, Biden stressed the importance of getting vaccinated. He said it isn't stopping at COVID-19.
This is a case of life and death. We're talking about people's lives. I want you to know that once we beat COVID, we're going to do everything we can to end cancer as we know it.
In his speech, Biden also criticized how President Trump handled the pandemic, saying there were no solid plans for vaccination a month ago. Meanwhile, a new CDC study shows severe adverse reactions to COVID-19 vaccinations are rare. The CDC say between December 14th and January 13th, officials gave out more than 13.7 million doses. Of those, officials reported fewer than 7,000 adverse effects, and 1/10 of those were considered serious. Most severe effects were from the Pfizer vaccine.
All that sunshine today and temperatures near the freezing mark.
Okay, Jacob, thanks. We're following developing news tonight in North Columbia, where the Missouri State Highway Patrol says a 17-year-old girl was arrested after a carjacking. Officials say 3 people are still at large. Now, it happened on Citadel Drive just off East Brown School Road. A state trooper told KOMU 8 News a group stole the car, then drove it into a residential neighborhood. MSHP says the driver then crashed the stolen car into another car and the group left the scene. We talked to a man who says he owns the car. He says he heard the whole thing happen.
All of a sudden, I just heard a heat, big sound, outside, and I just ran, to find out what happened. So I saw that, one of my car got hit, and so that's how I found out that, something happened.
That man says he doesn't think his car is drivable anymore. Now, again, 3 people still at large in this scene. Officials have not released any suspect information at this time. Prosecutors accused Cameron White of shooting and killing 13-year-old Dejon Harris in October of 2019. Today, a judge accepted his plea deal for involuntary manslaughter. White initially faced second-degree murder charges, but prosecutors dropped that to the lesser charge and an additional charge of armed criminal action. The judge sentenced him for both charges to run concurrent with a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Harris's family says charges should not have been lowered.
Good well that when you get shot in the middle of your head like this, that is not an accident, period. That is not an accident.
The Harris family says they will continue to fight for justice. In other news, the FBI arrested 2 Missouri men today who were wanted for their roles in the Capitol insurrection. One of the men is from Springfield, the other is from Cedar Hill, that's southwest of St. Louis. At least 10 Missourians have been arrested related to the insurrection. Turning now to COVID-19 financial relief. Most college students have been unable to get a COVID-19 vaccine just yet, but they might be eligible for a different kind of relief. KOMU8's Logan Perrone shows us the impact COVID-19 related federal emergency grants have for Mid-Missouri college students.
Logan Perrone, KOMU8 News, Columbia.
Other colleges across mid-Missouri are also giving out aid. Central Methodist University said it received $883,000. William Woods University received $1.4 million, but have yet to determine eligibility. A spokesperson for Columbia College says roughly 2,000 students can receive grants. A U.S. Department of Health and Human Services report says Callaway County is an emerging COVID-19 hotspot. Meanwhile, Fulton, Callaway's biggest city, is ending its 90-day mask mandate Monday, and officials there say they didn't even know this report existed. Fulton's mayor says the data he's getting from the Callaway County Health Department paints a different picture, with cases falling weekly. He says he thinks many people will still wear masks, but the time for a citywide mask mandate is over.
The numbers we're getting, we're feeling great that we're about to whip this thing, maybe not tomorrow, but there's lights at the end of the tunnel. I feel like personally within a few months, we're going to be, looking at this in the rearview mirror.
The mayor says Fulton gets its data from the Callaway County Health Department. The health department did not respond to KOMU8 News' request for comment. The city of Ashland received a community empowerment grant to revitalize their downtown area, and the planning is underway. Residents of Ashland gathered virtually to share their input on what they hope to see in the coming years. Updating the look and feel is the goal, but maintaining historic value is important. Being able to do both is the key.
I would like to see them have it be like a two-pronged thing, where one is beautification, but the other is to try to maintain the historical significance of downtown Ashland.
I think everybody, especially the residents of Ashland, are really excited about kind of establishing, what we're calling that sense of place downtown, that sense of belonging, the place where the community wants to gather for local events.
The city hopes to see changes start within the next year. Tonight marks the first Friday of Lent. One Columbia group continued an annual tradition with a new COVID-19 limitation. The Knights of Columbus held their annual fish fry today, but instead of packing the auditorium with people ready to eat, COVID-19 regulations have residents getting their meals to go in a drive-thru. One Knights official says he appreciates the community's support.
We're just so grateful to have everybody come out here. What it means to the Knights of Columbus is that we can continue with our tradition of offering the fish fry to the community and developing that relationship of friendship, community.
The Knights are planning to hold another fish fry sometime next month. Still ahead, Texas is starting to thaw out after a week of freezing temperatures, but the thaw is causing some other problems. Plus, taking a look at the red planet for the first time in color. The first color pictures are coming back from Mars after a rover landed yesterday. Welcome back. Much of Texas is starting to thaw out after a week of bitter winter conditions, but warmer temperatures are also bringing problems. Now, water is the biggest issue there. Many communities are under a boil order, causing a water shortage. Other places, frozen pipes are thawing, causing plumbing problems.
Those pipes that were solid ice are now thawing out just enough that that water pressure can push that ice plug out. And they burst. All those pipes that have already burst, now we're seeing the leaks come out of those splits in the pipes.
There's not enough plumbers in the world to take care of the problems we're having right now.
Insurance agents in Texas are starting to take claims related to the freeze. They say they expect this to be one of the biggest claim events in state history. The U.S. is officially back in the Paris Climate Accord. Under the agreement, countries are making promises to curb greenhouse gas emissions. Biden says climate change is one of the biggest things the world needs to work together on. Remember, former President Trump withdrew the U.S. from the treaty last year. At that point, the U.S. was the only country to pull out of the deal since it started back in 2015. Just a day after NASA's Perseverance rover landed on Mars, we're starting to see new pictures of the planet. Now, these are the first ever color photos of the Martian surface. Some show the rover being lowered onto Mars, others show it on the way to the landing site. Scientists involved in the landing say the rover is doing well.
Couldn't have been better. We were just kind of like on cloud nine, and all of us were just saying we were kind of in this weird dream-like state. We're like, we can't actually believe that this is what we're seeing like right now at this moment.
From here, scientists are looking at the pictures to figure out what types of rocks formed on Mars over the years.
10:16 is your current.
Welcome back. Let's talk consumer news. Ford is issuing recalls covering 154,000 cars, all to find 45 Takata airbags that are unaccounted for. The recall covers mostly 2004 to 2006 Ford Rangers, with some Mustang, GT, Fusion, and Edge models. Ford says the airbags might have been used to replace others after crashes or thefts. Tens of millions of Takata airbags have been recalled since 2014 over concerns they could explode in a crash. Nestle is selling its North American bottled water brands for $4.3 billion. A pair of private equity firms are buying the brands, including Pure Life, Deer Spark, and Poland Spring. That deal could be finalized by the spring. Nestle says it wants to focus on international premium brands like Perrier. Apple just launched its first 5G iPhones, but now it's working on 6G technology. Apple is posting job ads looking for engineers to help work on the technology in Silicon Valley and San Diego. 6G probably won't be implemented until 2030. When it comes out, it could be 100 times faster than 5G.